Hey guys, this is Jasur from Shanghai Silk Road, and today I'm joined by one of our accountants from accounting department. A lot of people keep asking us what kind of taxes do companies pay in China, especially WFOE or WOFE companies owned by foreign entrepreneurs. So here I'm joined by an expert. Instead of just telling you myself, I prefer asking all these questions to an expert. So he will be telling or answering all kind of accounting questions to us. Hi, so can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hey, I am Jason, and I'm responsible for the customer service account for financial and bank affairs. You can contact me if you join us.
Okay, thank you, Jason. So basically, a lot of people ask a very general question: what kind of corporate taxes do they have to pay when they do business in China?
Generally, we have three kinds of taxes in China. If you have a company, first is VAT, which is called value-added tax.
Mm-hmm.
It can be classified into two kinds. The first one is a general taxpayer, which is especially for those trading companies.
Mm-hmm.
They may do export business, and the other one is a small scale taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
This is for those companies who provide service business, and the tax rates are a bit different. For general taxpayer, there are separate tax rates. For goods, it will be around 9% to 13%,
mm-hmm.
and for service, it will be 6%.
Mm-hmm.
And for a small-scale taxpayer, it will be 0% if your income is less than 300,000 in a quarter.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there are two types of companies, to make it short. Like a company can be registered as a general taxpayer, and then a small-scale taxpayer. General taxpayers start paying VAT from day one, right? They have to pay every month.
Yes, every month.
And when they register as a small-scale taxpayer, mm-hmm. they do not have to pay VAT until the income exceeds 300,000 RMB, right?
You can choose to
mm-hmm.
declare your income monthly or quarterly. If you declare it monthly, then the income is the limitation will be 100,000 in months.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So very clear, guys. So as you can see, we have two types of companies. Basically, when you register your company, you have to make it clear. Either general taxpayer or small-scale taxpayer. So it's really up to you. And based on your business needs and requirements or plans, you can do the registration and tell your accountant your preferences, basically. So this is about VAT. And how about like corporate income tax?
The second, this is the second part. We have if you make less than 1 million in a year, mm-hmm. I mean the net profit, mm-hmm. then the tax rate will be 5%.
Mm-hmm.
The net profit between 1 million and 3 million, it will be increased to 10%. Mm-hmm. And the profit over 3 million in a year, it will be 25%.
Okay, so this is corporate income tax.
Yes.
Or so you pay it from the net income.
Yes.
Okay, and you pay it yearly.
No, actually it will be charged every quarter.
Every quarter.
And
okay.
The government will recalculate your profit at the end of the year, and mm-hmm. If it exceeds 1 million, then the tax rate will be raised.
Okay, so between 1 million and 3 million, it will be like 10%, as you said. But
yes.
Less than 1 million, it's 5%.
Yes, and only the over part of 1 million will be charged at 10%.
Mm-hmm. All right. So as you can see, guys, there's especially when we talk about corporate income tax, there's a lot of misunderstanding on the internet. People say that in China, taxes are between 15% and 25%. which are, as you can see, not correct. So when you register a WFOE company in China, you pay this corporate income tax if your net profit is up to 1 million, you pay 5%. And between 1 million and 3 million, it increases slightly, becomes 10%, right? And it's charged quarterly. So very clear information. And by the way, yeah, it happens that some laws change, some rules change. So we're talking about 2019 exactly, and June, okay? So keep your information up to date. Ask questions exactly from your accountant in China, licensed accountant, okay? Be careful getting information from different sources, especially on the internet, not reliable sources. I would say, because they will mislead you. Okay, find an accountant, ask your questions to them. All right, except for corporate income tax and value added tax, any other taxes that we have to think?
Yes.
Talk about?
If you pay yourself for a salary, and if it exceeds 5,000 a month, and the over part will be charged for personal income tax.
Okay, and how much percent? If I say, for example, pay myself 20,000 RMB, just random figure, every month.
It depends whether you pay it from January or you pay from middle of the year. It depends, because it's the tax rate is not fixed.
Oh, okay, it's not fixed for every period, right?
Yes, it depends on how much you already get. And the more you get, the more salary, the more tax you will pay.
Can you give us approximate figure between, you know, for example, between this number and that number for like 20,000 RMB a month?
For 20,000, it will be, let's say for a year, it will be like
just an approximate.
Approximate.
Yeah.
I made a form on my computer, and I need to.
So okay, guys, I'm going to share that file. Okay. Yeah, I put it on the screen so you can exactly see how it's calculated and etc. But from my own experience, for example, when we pay 17,000 or 18,000 salary to employees, we pay around 300, 400, something like that for employment tax, right?
I believe that amount will increase in the end of the year.
All right. So as you can see, as I mentioned, laws change, but the rates, I don't see, you know, the big difference in the rates, but still slightly. So what you have to do is every time you register a company, you make sure you talk to an accountant and get your information up to date. Okay, so he's saying that by the end of the year, the rates will increase. Okay, but we're hoping that the difference will not be too big. So anyway, so this is employment tax, right? And any other taxes like insurance, whatever.
For foreigners, you don't have to pay Social Security for yourself, but when you hire a Chinese employee, then you have to pay it.
Okay, is it like too much? How much percent?
It's like 1,500 to 2,000 per month.
Per month, okay. So all right, so if you need to hire a local skill, then you have to keep in mind that you will have to pay Social Security. And for foreign employees, you don't have to. So it's really up to your business model, your requirements, etc., etc. Any other taxes?
Some other, those are just some additional taxes that are very, very small.
Like so minor taxes. We don't really have to be concerned too much, right?
Like 5 yuan or 20 yuan, yeah.
Okay, yeah, like any other country, there are some taxes that you better give your accountant, and they will take care of that because they are so minor. You don't really have to be concerned too much about them. Anyway, guys, another question I got, except for tax types or different kinds of corporate taxes and income taxes. Another question they ask is, can I do the accounting from abroad, or can I file the accounts myself? Is it allowed in China?
You can find someone who's familiar with the rules in China, because I believe most foreigners are not very familiar with.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and the system is entirely in Chinese, like the filing system.
Yes.
So this is another thing. But do you know, is it allowed actually to do the accounts by the owner? Yeah.
Yeah, actually it is.
It is allowed, right?
Yeah, but very difficult for yourself.
So yeah, actually, yeah, from my personal experience, I saw that system when they upload and everything. Everything is entirely in Chinese, so for that reason, and plus the system in China is slightly different from other countries. So that's why I only recommend you find a licensed accountant and make sure that they are reputable, they know what they're doing, they file your accounts in time, no mistakes, etc., etc. Why? Because businesses here, especially foreign-owned, if they do some mistakes, it's easy for them to be blacklisted. So you have to be really, really careful on that. Okay, so any other things that when we talk about accounting, that we have to be concerned?
Yeah, when you choose our accounting service, you must, you should have provided some material, some information for us to do accounting. Otherwise, we cannot make accounting for your company with nothing.
So exactly, we have to, entrepreneurs, keep files in place and then give you the copies, right? So what are they? Like contracts?
Contract is necessary when you need us to issue a Chinese invoice for your client, and the bank statement and receipts is necessary.
All right.
So we can check your status, every transaction. We know it clearly, and you will get to know after we make a financial report. We make it every month, and but it's in Chinese. If you need it, we can just send to you.
Exactly. So like in any other country, you have to keep your files in place, first of all, for yourself, and then give the copies to your accountant every month. For every transaction, make sure you provide the contract, for example, between yourself and your business partners, and plus bank statements every month, so they can see the transactions, what's going on in your bank account. And when he mentioned invoice, I need to make it very clear that in China, invoices are called fapiao.
Yeah.
For example, in other countries, you can print it using your home printer. That's not the case in China, right? It needs a special...
That's different in China. We have to pick empty invoices, 发票, from the tax office,
right.
And we use our tax machine to print for you.
Exactly. So as you can see, you cannot just randomly use your home printer to print invoices, which are called fapiao in China. So it's done by the accountant. Okay, they use special machine and they use this special blanks. Okay, special format used in China. All right. Another question I got is audit. Okay, how audit is done and when it's done.
Oh, what do you mean audit for?
Auditing the company, for example, in in some countries it's required to be done every year. For example, what's the situation here?
Yeah, we will do annual report for every company. The time is between April to June the 13th.
All right.
Yeah, we have to finish that.
Okay, so it's annually have to be done.
Yes,
right?
annual.
All right. Oh yeah, one more thing actually, almost forgot. Tax return. How it's done and who can do it?
Yeah, we have a service for that. We have to have some original documents from you, and we have to put it on record at the tax office. And after they checked it and approved it, we can start the process. It takes like 4 or 5 months to have them money back.
Okay, so how much can they return actually?
It depends on the tax rate you buy from your supplier in China. Usually it's 10% to 13%.
All right, very clear. So as you can see, guys, you can do that, and it's done. There is a specific date to do this, right? To file this.
Yeah, there is a deadline. It depends. It depends the date you export the goods, and the supplier should issue a fapiao to you. You have to give all of them to us, and we will try to do it.
All right. So okay, guys, there's a deadline, and it can be done. Okay, but another thing I know is to do tax return, your company should be registered as general taxpayer. Right?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So you cannot do tax return if your company is small scale taxpayer. Okay, because when we talk about tax return, we're talking about VAT, right?
Yes.
To get the VAT back from the government that you paid.
One more thing.
Yeah. Okay. Of course.
The expense fapiao your company spent in China, you have to provide the fapiao, send the fapiao to us for accounting. Unless if we need the original fapiao, unless it's electronic. If it's electronic fapiao, you can just send us through email. Email,
okay, for expenses.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
That can reduce your enterprise income tax.
Yeah, like can it be from, for example, daily expenses for employees, like transportation,
yes.
Whatever services you use in your company, like your company covers that expenses, so you can collect fapiao from different sources.
Yeah, most of them can be company expense, and if you used your personal money to pay it, you can claim it back after you provide the fapiao to us.
All right. So guys, once again, we're talking about reducing taxes, okay, in China. You can legally reduce your taxes if you collect, a fapiao or invoice as company expenses from different sources. For example, your employee transportation costs, your employees' housing costs, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Or if you're married, you can, your company can actually cover your kids' education in China. So you can ask that invoice from, schools and collect that and give to accountants so they can, keep it in file. So you can reduce files, like taxes.
Even when you go abroad for a business trip, you can ask for an invoice
from hotels,
under the company name, because as we know, from abroad they don't have Chinese invoice, so the pro forma invoice is okay.
Is all right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I think this topics, the situation is almost universal everywhere. So to reduce the taxes legally, you can kind of collect invoices from different sources. I think we've now talked almost everything, but if you have any specific questions, guys, because on a daily basis I receive a lot of questions on taxes, you can leave in the comment section below or send us an email so I can address those questions in the next episode. Okay, thanks Jason for answering all these questions, really appreciate it. Once again, Jason is from our accounting department. If you need accountants, if you need any services, contact us. Thank you once again. Okay.